What is up, everybody? And welcome back to the Matt Pete Marketing Podcast. Today, I'm excited to bring in Tracy Enos. Now, Tracy is an endorsed top LinkedIn advisor and a single mom of 4. In July of 2015, she just sustained third-degree burns, had a 6-day stint in the burn unit, and 5 surgeries in 9 months. She wrote her first article the following October. It was featured in LinkedIn Pulse and generated 5 figures in just 2 hours of work. With over 21 years of skilled experience, Tracy serves a wide variety of clients, including entrepreneurs, small to mid-sized companies, startup ventures, and business professionals. A seasoned business coach and best-selling author, Tracy drives core business processes for the clients she serves, including LinkedIn training, profile makeovers, and consulting. In the last 9 years, Tracy's consulted thousands of business owners, SaaS companies, coaches, authors, service professionals, sales and marketing teams, and entrepreneurs on how to use LinkedIn to generate leads, become the authority in the industry, and stay front of mind with their client. She is known globally for her LinkedIn knowledge and training with her clients in the US, Canada, Australia, Holland, Israel, Germany, and the UK. Her consulting experience has netted her clients speaking engagements, media attention, guest articles in major publications and trade magazines, and millions of dollars in new business. Tracy, I'm excited to have you on today. Thank you for coming on.
Hi, Matt. I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so glad I met you at Russell Brunson's latest event to Comma Club Live. Yeah, that's what it was, right?
That was awesome. That VIP group was where it was at.
It was.
Yeah, I actually spoke with him like last week, like on Instagram.
You spoke with Russell?
Yeah, I'm trying to work with him. So I was able to get in touch with him, and we're speaking via Instagram. Right now he's down at Disney World, so obviously he's not responding, but we've been going back and forth over Instagram message for a few days now.
Oh, I'm in the room with greatness. Awesome.
It was really cool. So I saw you wearing the Funnel Hacker shirt, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's been pretty interesting. But yeah, we met at the 2 Comma Club Live event online, and we spoke and we talked about LinkedIn and what you're doing there. And I was like, you'd be a perfect guest for my podcast about marketing, because LinkedIn is a great place for that. So real quick, what's your marketing passion?
I think you already said it. LinkedIn has been since, since I've been getting paid for it. But even more so, it's a passion now, but since 2013, I've been getting paid. I was doing it for free before then, but officially getting the dollars 2013.
So for everybody out there listening, when you say, getting paid for it, is that like through coaching clients or by LinkedIn directly?
No, coaching clients. We did a lot of, back in the day when we first started, we did a lot of profile makeovers. When we still do that, that's our bread and butter.
Okay.
But that's how we started. And then we started teaching those clients how to use LinkedIn and Sales Navigator to generate leads within their own business. And then it just grew from there, really.
Awesome. So just real quick, what's the number one thing you see people doing on LinkedIn on their profiles that you think they should stop doing?
Stop selling me your thing in your invitation to connect. That drives me mad. I'm just telling you. I'm like, in fact, in our free LinkedIn group, I did some screenshots of those a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this is what not to do. Like, I'm pulling my hair out. And, I try to be nice to everybody, and I may not connect with everybody with those messages, but I will reply to them and say, hey, thanks, but let me tell you why I'm not connecting with you.
I've done that before on Facebook. I didn't know it'd be a thing on LinkedIn. It's such a professional platform.
Well, it is, but I mean, how you don't know me. So like the first time I remember it had to been like 6 years ago now. One of these MLM people, it was with Visalis, the weight loss, the shakes in company or whatever. And I knew who Visalis was because we were in it for a little bit of time. And I get this message, from wanting to connect with me. And I was like, okay. And this is, long before they started doing the vomit my thing all over you the minute we connect. Now they're doing it in the connection request. But so I connect with this person, and then they started just, doing their spiel and trying to sell me on the weight loss, whatever. And I sent a message back and I said, I'm kind of offended. And they're like, why? And I said, how do you know I want to lose weight? How do you know I need to lose weight? Are you making an assumption based off of a photo? I mean, that's offensive. You know, there's
Yeah.
lots of people out there that are perfectly happy being fluffy. I mean, how do you know until you have an actual conversation with me? How do you know I want to get into direct marketing or network marketing or MLM or pyramid scheme, whatever people call it these days? Right. I mean, you've offended me. You should have said, hi, how are you doing? Thanks for connecting with me, and start a casual conversation. That's what wins in the inbox. But I can't even have that with people now. When they do is they vomit their thing in the invite. I'm like, I just can't. Who's teaching this stuff?
Right. And it happens all of the time. And you say like the Visalis, the weight loss stuff. I've literally in the past 2 months had two people send me friend requests on Facebook and literally jump into my messages the second they get the approval or whatever and try to sell me like weight loss coaching and stuff. The first guy, like I was like, well, let me see his sales process. Like I want to just follow this through. And like I literally, he did a phone call with me and everything. And then I kind of saw how impersonal it was when about a week later, he's like, hey, Matt, are you still good for our call today? And I was like, I already had the call with him. I was like, sure. I was wanting to see. And like, he got on the call with me. Like he called me again and literally started to ask the same questions. I was like, hey, man, I hate to cut you off, but we literally had the same exact conversation about 6 days ago. And it was just like, it was so impersonal. You can tell he's just doing it nonstop. And then last week, I had another guy reach out to me doing the weight loss and didn't strike up any kind of conversation meaningful. He's just asking me about my weight loss goals. I was like, actually, I'm pretty happy where I'm at. It's like, I'm never happy where I'm at. I'm always trying to improve, but it's like, I don't feel like being sold
You
to
just
about
didn't
weight
like
loss
the,
stuff.
yeah, you just didn't
Yeah.
like the way that they brought you into that conversation. Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, unfortunately, they're probably using automation, and
Probably.
they're not keeping up with their automation, which, I'm going to say it here, y'all. I use automation, but I use it sparingly. And I too, way back in the day when before LinkedIn caught on with it, we didn't have the cool automation now where you set follow-up messages. It was just the connection message, and then that's fine. I still use it for that. And then I use it to blast out information to a subset of my connections with, 200 or so messages a day, but that's it. Everything else I use in LinkedIn is manually done.
Oh,
I
wow.
might templatize things, but you never know. Like a lot of people, the minute they connect with you, and you're the one doing the direct outreach, they'll say something. And these automation follow-ups don't catch that. So if
Yeah.
you're sending an automated follow-up and you're not actually physically in your inbox to respond to them, you're going to look like an idiot.
Yep.
Depending on what that message is, because it's not going to correlate with the message they sent you. Right.
Yep.
So, and that could have been a huge opportunity. You don't know. You just don't know. So I say use it sparingly. But I think you're better off, using LinkedIn where you really sit down and define who it is that you want to talk to. Right. And look, I can send out 100 messages templatized, and I can physically add their name, type in it a day, or connection request, or a message. Like all my new connections, I get into my network and I look at my connections, I filter them by most recent, and then I send them a thank you for connecting with me. And then I ask them a question. I'm not selling them. And you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Matt, since last time you and I talked, I've only sent out 300 connection requests. I have a 70% connection rate. 70%.
Wow.
I've booked 9 podcasts.
That is awesome.
And yours is not included in that. So,
so 10 now.
yeah. Yeah. I did 4 last week. I have 4 or 5 this week. And I've already booked 3 more for next week. I mean, it's just, we're on a roll.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And that is a ton of connection requests to send out. Like for somebody who does, like you said, you have it templatized, which is awesome. I'm all about that, and having a process, but like, man, that's 300 more invitations than I sent out last week or since we talked.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Wow.
people everybody organizes their stuff differently. Some people use text expanders.
Yep.
Some people use their notes, or they use like Google Drive, where they'll have a subset of their messages. But it's a lot nicer. I would say probably a good 20% of those sent a message once they connected without me doing the follow-up
Okay.
message. So I had something to respond to right
Gotcha.
away. But I also had in my connection request, I had I use a little humor, you know?
Okay.
So, and that gets people, it's something that's fresh that they're not seeing. Although there is a fella across the pond, his name's John Buchan, and I bought his stuff. And that's how he kind of introduced me to the humor. I don't have his humor. Okay. I mean, he's hilarious. But I can see that people who are using John's program, because it's the same messages that he sends in his program. Like, I know you got that from John Buchan, right? But I use humor with your own personality, and humor sometimes across black and white text is hard to convey.
Yeah.
Right. So mine was real simple. It says, "Hey, first name. I'm really getting into this podcast frenzy. A love of them." So like I have 2 sentences there. A love of them. I want to connect with other like-minded business professionals and leaders in our space. If it's not too cheesy, let's connect. And that's what they see, is that if it's not too cheesy part, I'm getting the responses back. That's why I said 20% of them are coming back going, "No, that's not too cheesy. That's pretty cool. That's the best connection request I've ever seen. In fact, I landed a podcast today because of that connection request."
That's awesome. Yeah, I
So,
need to start doing that. That's
yeah.
cool.
And I just come back, and when they have something to respond to like that, look, the guard comes down, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a friend connection instead of like a professional, like
Yeah,
business associate kind of thing.
exactly. Exactly. Now, would that connection, invitation be the same message to a CEO of $100 million corporation? Probably not.
Yeah.
A
little more thought. Yeah.
Yeah, right. But I know that crowd. I know that industry. I know who they are. I've been on enough of them. I've listened to enough of them. A lot of them are very casual. They just like conversating with your friend.
Yeah.
Like we're just sitting at the table across from each other having a beer. So that's how you should start approaching LinkedIn nowadays. Long gone are the days of stuffy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there still isn't some professionalism in there. There definitely is. But when you can bring somebody's guard down, especially in a era where everything is spam, I'm spamming you in the connection request. I'm spamming you the minute I connect with you. I'm even spamming your posts now. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh yeah.
Your newsfeed posts, people are plugging in their thing in the
So
comments or
frustrating.
whatever. Oh, it's horrible. So in a world of spam and whatnot, you got to separate yourself from that, to get for somebody to stand up or sit up and take notice.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So before we move in, because I know we're going to talk about a ton about LinkedIn, so I'm excited about that. But I want to do the pod deck question really quick. Everybody who watches or listens, they know what this is: random deck of non-industry specific questions. And if I have an affiliate code with them, if anybody wants the decks, use code TheMattPete. You get 10% off. Save some money. All right. What's left on your bucket list?
I've got a lot left on my bucket list while I'm still young. So I'm working on one. It's the book called Rock My Scars, which absolutely has nothing to do with the book behind me, LinkedIn Publishing to Profits. But we're not going to put that on the bucket list. I'm going to do something more fun. I have back issues. I'm really improving them. I've lost 50 pounds and my back hasn't gone out in almost a year.
That's awesome.
So I'm really excited about that. I want to go skydiving. That's what I want to do. I'm a thrill seeker. Put me on the biggest, fastest roller coaster you can find, and I'm in the front. That's me. And then when we stop, it's go again. I don't want to get off and go stand in line. It's go again.
I love that. And I'll have to connect you with Lauren Clement. She was on my podcast before, and she does the whole skydiving, like extreme sports kind of stuff. And she can hook you up. She's down in Australia though, so it's a bit of a trip.
Hey, I'll go to Australia.
But I mean, yeah, skydiving, I can't decide if I want that to be on my bucket list. Like, it's like I've done zip lining, and it's one of those things that once you're on the line, it's a lot of fun. But when you're like, I'm about to jump off of this platform, and like if I fall, if this line breaks and I fall, I'm dead. Like, there's no stopping. So for me, it's skydiving. It's like, I'm sure it's similar. Like, I'm in a perfectly good airplane. Why would I want to ruin that? And then you jump out and it's like, if I hit the ground, I'm dead, but it's probably really fun.
Well, you have your guide behind you on,
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
going to let you free fall on your own the first few
No, no.
times. So when you got somebody behind you telling you what to do, I think you'll be okay.
Well, and I grew up like I hated roller coasters growing up. Like I liked riding four wheelers. Anytime I could control the adrenaline, like riding four wheelers up the side of a mountain kind of thing, did that all the time. I started riding four wheelers when I was 10 years old and we were like literally driving straight up the sides of mountains. Totally fun because I was in control of the steering wheel. But you take that control away from me and I hated it. But just recently, in the past 4 or 5 years, I've started diving into that world of roller coasters and like giving up the control. And I love it. So I'm thinking I'll get there one day. I just don't think I'm there yet.
Oh yeah. So I know the next ClickFunnels event we go to, we're going to take an extra day, and your wife and you and I, we're going to the nearest amusement park.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, I was just now watching Russell Brunson's stories actually before we jumped on this call, and he's down in Orlando right now. He's doing the whole Disney World Universal thing, and he's checking out the venue for Two Comic Club Live. This is like August or September down in Orlando. So I mean,
Oh, nice.
There you go.
No, I think that's Funnel Hacking Live.
Oh, that's what it is. That's right. Funnel Hacking Live. Yep. But yeah, he was showing the venue off down there and took his family down there to ride some rides.
Hey, well, now part of that's a business trip, right off.
There you go, 100%. Said like a true business owner.
Right, exactly.
All right, Tracy, what's something you see people do in their marketing that makes you cringe?
We just talked about that.
Yep, the connections.
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
Also, the number one thing to avoid doing, I think we talked about that too, but I'll just reiterate it again, is look, make your connection request tailored to the audience that you're trying to connect with. And don't not do a connection personal note, because you're more likely going to get that connection request approved or accepted than not if you include a note. So much I see people not sending a note, and the only time that you don't have an opportunity to send a note is if you go into the manager contacts or my audience tab, and on the left, if you scroll to the bottom below your name, you have an opportunity to include your email address. And LinkedIn, if they're on LinkedIn and they're using that email address, LinkedIn will pull it in, and you have an opportunity to start building your network and connecting with your network straight from your email list, from like Gmail cool. or Hot or Outlook or anything like that. So, and you don't have an opportunity to send a personal note to do that. But what I tell people is, like, if they don't have very many connections or under 1,000 connections, it's okay to have, colleagues or past clients or referral partners or anybody that because once you start getting active in LinkedIn, especially in the news feed, your content, if they engage with it, is going to get shown to their network. So now you can bring in their networks into your network, and that's how you really grow your LinkedIn connection. So, but that's the only other time that you're not able to do that. And typically I know when I'm on somebody's list, then I'll still accept it. But I only have 16,000 connections right now, and I should have well over 30 in the followers. But after a while, I got selective. I didn't just connect with anyone and everyone anymore. So, just because I don't have the 30,000 limit, guys, doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about.
16,000 connections. That's a lot of people. Oh my gosh.
It is a lot of people. And, but that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's growing your reach. I mean, like you said, those people interact with your content. If you have a portion of those interacting, then they're going to see it. And so I've got a whopping 272 connections.
Well, I just gave you a tip on how to get that to over 1,000.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that. I like logged in, and I went on the other day, updated my profile picture and that kind of stuff. Actually, I think that was like right after I got off the call with you, because I was like, hey, LinkedIn's kind of cool, actually. So I went and like used some template stuff, and I was like, well, let me check out some other people's profiles, and kind of got an idea for it. And I went and updated my profile picture and that kind of stuff. But I need to continue to go through and get a better feel for it. I've never really just dove into LinkedIn before.
Look, it's a really great place for podcast hosts, consultants, coaches, authors, even fiction or fictional authors. Just depends on who you're connecting with and who's the ideal client for that. That's more business to consumer, which is becoming more prevalent in LinkedIn, but it still takes a little longer to secure a client if you're doing business to customer than you are business to business.
Yeah.
But I can always find workarounds. Like realtors like, well, I can't sell my houses in LinkedIn, although I've seen a few people have done that. But they have a good network of folks that are local to them, right?
Yeah.
But this is what I say, look, you're looking for referral partners.
Okay. Yeah.
So you need to start looking for, lenders, hard money lenders, especially if you work with investors or you do commercial projects, right?
Yep.
So you want those people. What about divorce attorneys, estate attorneys, probate attorneys, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you're getting listings, you
You
want to
gotta,
secure some
yeah.
listings. I better start networking with some divorce attorneys, probate and estate attorneys, right?
That's smart because
You
you're
know?
finding the people who know the people who are trying to sell or buy houses.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then like way back in the day when I was an agent in a little town of Joplin, Missouri, there was a company there called Leggett and Platt. And the team that I worked on had secured a contract with Leggett and Platt because they had a lot of employees that they would transfer across the country.
Okay.
And some of their executives actually worked in Joplin. So we would help them buy a house in Joplin. So while we're working with the other agents across the country, they're selling their house. So it's kind of like a domino and we were the
Yeah.
end. But then if they were moving to, relocate, then we had the sale. And a lot of times we would go find them the agent to where they're relocating. And then we get a piece of that commission too.
That referral. Okay.
Yeah. So this is great to use LinkedIn for that.
Yeah, I definitely need to jump in. I think part of my hesitation of jumping in is that my business model has recently changed. So before I was doing like a business to consumer, like I was a wedding videographer. So like you said, I can connect professionally with people, but my end client, that bride or that groom, wasn't necessarily going to connect with me on LinkedIn. But just so most of my connections came from Instagram and Facebook. But now my business is shifted. So I'm doing marketing stuff, doing marketing content and videos and photos for companies. So there's a definite direct audience for me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you were still that wedding photographer, you could still use LinkedIn to network with venues.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about it until you were just talking about the last, it's like venues, wedding planners, other photographers, and that kind
People
of,
who
yeah,
refer your
florists.
services out that, would have like a total package. DJs,
Yeah.
maybe wine companies, people that sell the booze and have the booze in there. I mean, you can think of all sorts of people that would
Yeah.
refer out photographers.
I should have just shifted my mindset. My mindset was, how do I get in front of the brides? And honestly, I've learned recently within the past year and a half that I shouldn't be necessarily trying to reach my end client, but like for me, my lead, like word of mouth referrals were wedding planners when I was in the wedding business. So I would get a ton of leads that were like, hey, we already know this couple wants to book you, just send us over the contract, because the wedding planner sold me. And now with the business I'm starting now, where I'm doing video and photo and that kind of stuff for marketer, like for businesses as their marketer, other marketers are referring me because they might be specific, like you're specific to LinkedIn, but if somebody wants a video done for their LinkedIn, you don't know how to make a video, you're going to find somebody who knows how to make a video, so you're going to refer me, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So
100%. I don't do that.
yeah, so I'm finding that those connections are the best for me. It's the people who are in the similar niche and they have other connections. They're like part of the funnel, that's just, they're selling my services for me. I
Right.
love that.
Absolutely. Yep. See, so I'm glad that you shifted into the industry that you're in now, but you can see now
Oh,
where I'm
absolutely.
going with a B2C company, how they can, like you just said, shift my mindset. How do I spin this so I'm not going straight to the consumer, that I'm getting the referrals? And that's now we're going to the business partner.
Yep. And like I said, that can be a better source of revenue and leads than an actual just end client.
Correct.
Having 10 people out there who are connecting with your end client and referring you is better than me trying to reach out to that end client and getting, one of them, where they're going to send me 15 leads.
Right. And then from there, people are like, okay, now I have them in my network. How do I stay in front of them? Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do that through your content in the news feed, publishing an article and sharing it with them in their personal inbox, or sending them a message every once in a while. Hey, look at this project that we just did. So they may not have a client right then and there, but if you are giving them value and showing them things, then the first thing when they get a client is the first name that's going to roll off their tongue is you.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna have to, yeah. And like we were talking before the pre-interview chat, we need to start doing some LinkedIn live stuff. I think it would be cool to have you like just go through my LinkedIn and rip it apart. And just
well, we can do that. So
because I'm sure like I feel decent about my LinkedIn, but having somebody like you look at it, I'm probably doing so much wrong. So I'd be interested to see like what I could be doing better to make those connections. That's yeah. I'm learning a ton. This is awesome. So
are you sure you want to do that? Because I still want to be friends when we're done.
Oh, I love that. All right, Tracy, if you were to start marketing for a new business today and they gave you a budget of $1,000, what would you do to get some more clients?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to stick with LinkedIn.
Okay.
But here's one tool that I would do. I would, in a heartbeat, I'd pay for, and that's Sales Navigator. Like I've been a Sales Navigator owner for the last 6 years now, I think. I would not trade it in for nothing. It is one of the cheapest prospecting tools that you can find. And it's LinkedIn's tool. And so it doesn't violate their terms of service. That is one software you can use. And it's great. And if you pay for it monthly, it's $80 a month. So that would kind of take up my budget, right? But I'd save a few dollars and I would buy it annually and save myself 20%, which equates to about $65 a month. And then I have a few dollars left over. So that's what I would do. Then I would take the rest of that money and I would invest in graphics for my profile and my company page. There you go. There's $1,000. And then I just do what I do is get using the prospecting tool, start engaging with people, having conversations, getting them off of LinkedIn and into my own email.
Awesome. So, okay, tell me a little bit more about Sales Navigator because I feel like I've heard of it before inside of LinkedIn, but I've never really used it. So what does it do for you?
Well, like I said, it's a prospecting tool. So here's a few differences between Business Premium and Sales Navigator. Well, we'll just throw in free too. So with Sales Navigator and Business Premium, you're allowed to see everybody who's checked out your profile or viewed your profile in the last 90 days. Okay. If you're a free member, you only get to see 5 per day. Believe me and trust me, when you get going and people are viewing your profile because you're, putting out content, you're sending out connection requests, you're getting active in groups or engaging on other people's content, throwing out articles out there, people are going to come back and check out your profile. Promise you. Okay. You want that profile to look great. But if you're only able to see 5 people a day, you're going to miss some hot golden nuggets in there. Because maybe somebody looked at your profile but didn't send you a connection request. Okay. I would go in there and send them a connection request and go, I see that you looked at my profile. Yeah, maybe a little cheesy, right? But what was it about my profile that made you go look at it? Or what was it about whatever I did that made you go look at it? And, I think we should connect, be very humble about it, right? And more often than not, they're going to connect with you. And that just starts a conversation right there.
Cool.
Right.
All right.
So another difference is the filters. So Business Premium and the regular LinkedIn, free LinkedIn have only a few filters. Sales Navigator, they have filters for leads, which are people, and they have filters for accounts, which are companies. Okay. So all in all, there's over 30 filters between the two. So you can filter, like really define who it is that you want to work with. So everything from, the company size, how many employees do they have, how long they've been in business, their titles. You can have that in the free LinkedIn too, but how long have they held that title? But also too, when you do a search, LinkedIn also shows you who's been active in the last 90 days, who's changed jobs in the last 30 days, who has things similar to you, that similar interests or people in common. You can save searches. You can save up to 15 searches. You get in-mails. You can do that with Business Premium too, but with LinkedIn, you get 60 with Sales Navigator. You get 60 with Business Premium. I think you only get 30 or 45. In-mails are for people that are way outside your network. And LinkedIn, they guarantee 100% deliverability to their inbox. And somebody has an opportunity to either reply to you or say, I'm not interested.
Wow.
So, which
So
is
is
okay.
that the in-mail? Is that like you said, people way outside of your connectivity?
Your
Is that,
network, or like,
yeah.
you know,
So is that
let's
like
say for,
inviting them to connect, or is
yeah,
that like,
let's say for example, I sent a connection request to Russell Brunson.
yeah,
We'll just keep Russell in the loop. I think I'm connected to Russell, but he's busy boy, right?
yeah, yeah,
He's probably not going to connect with me, right?
yeah.
But if I send him an email, and if his privacy settings are set up right, he's going to get notified in his email that I sent him an in-mail.
Oh,
So a message in in-mail, right?
okay.
So there's the difference there. So gosh, there's so many more differences, but you know, what I can really say is it's worth it. You can organize people, you can save lead lists. You have a whole separate news feed for, it's called alerts. So if you save leads, you don't even have to be connected to them. If you save a lead or an account, LinkedIn tells you their activity. So if they're posting something in the regular LinkedIn, oh my God, Matt, back in the day, we used to have to keep spreadsheets of like our hot 100. And so that we could go engage with their content. I don't have to do that anymore. LinkedIn just tells me in my alerts. I just pop into my sales navigator every day. I scroll the alerts and then I engage from there. I love
That's
it.
cool.
You can't
That's
do
really
that with
cool.
Business Premium or the free LinkedIn.
What I need to do is just like close my Facebook tab and have a LinkedIn one open. So I'm forced to like use it more, because I've just grown so accustomed to just going in Facebook. But like, man, there's so many powerful things that LinkedIn has to offer, you know?
But you know what? Don't discount Facebook
No, I
because
mean,
your audience is there too.
yeah, I mean, it's a great tool, but like, I feel like LinkedIn, I feel like there's so much, the people who I've talked to, I've got a buddy, Donald Kelly, who uses LinkedIn and he absolutely loves it. I sat down and talked with him about 15, 20 minutes at a conference we were at a couple years ago. Loves LinkedIn. I have not found much success with it at all. Like I've had a few, like I told you pre-interview chat, I used to post articles on there and I had a few likes and comments and everything, but nothing crazy, no crazy reach. But he was telling me about all the great things about LinkedIn and I just never was able to uncover, I just never spent enough time in there really
Well,
diving into it.
it's about being consistent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So it just takes a little bit of time, and it takes, there's other trainers out there. I'm not the only one, obviously, but find one that you resonate with, like my
Yeah.
personality is not for everybody. So find one that you resonate with that knows their stuff, and then sit down and they can teach you how to do it. Look, it just takes a plan. And once you devise a plan that you do daily, weekly, and monthly, like when I first started, I have a sheet, what I did Monday through Friday, daily, weekly, and monthly, and it kept me on track. Well, now it's second nature,
Okay.
so I
Yeah.
know what I can do, ABC, right?
Yep.
And once you do that, look, you really don't need to spend any more than 30, 45 minutes a day, unless you're like me and go ahead and do a campaign and then get overwhelmed. And then you have 300 messages to respond to. And you're like, right? Don't do that. But if you get in there and spend a few minutes every day, obviously you can spend more, but you'll start seeing some traction and you'll start having some great conversations. And then you move those people off of LinkedIn into wherever, you organize your prospects.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Tracy, tell me a story of your biggest marketing mistake.
I got quite a few of those. Biggest marketing mistake. I know what it is. There's actually two of them.
All right.
So the first one was when I went to a marketing conference with Mike Koenig's. It was his Publish to Profit. It was September of 2014. And I got a hot seat. We had to do we had to fill out a form, and then they would pick the ones that they wanted. And I got chosen like the first day. And it was great. And it was the day before my birthday. And I'd thrown my back out at the Arizona airport. That's a story for another day. The airport was on lockdown. There was a gunman in the airport. Anyway, so I get up there and there's 4 multimillionaires there, right? That's not scary enough, right?
Yeah.
They're going to dissect my business in 7 minutes. And I was like, eek. And at the time I had a digital marketing agency. So I was doing like SEO, building WordPress websites, business directories, Google Maps, that kind of fun stuff. And they sat down and looked at my website, which was really well done at the time. They looked at my social media and then talked to me, asked me some questions, and turned around and said, fire all your local clients. You need to write a book and start consulting on LinkedIn. And I'm like, easier said than done. So of course I purchased the program, Publishing to Profit, but I didn't use it till 3 years later. I think I'd be a lot farther along, like the book behind me, LinkedIn Publishing to Profits.
Yep.
That didn't get marketed until fall of 2017, right before I went and spoke on Dan Kennedy's stage.
Man.
Yeah, 3 years later, took me 3 years. I think that was one big marketing mistake. And you know what? I didn't know what I was doing in 2018 when it finally hit publish. And it landed me 25 speaking gigs and podcast interviews in 2018. And that book right there was responsible for well into my 6 figures of income. And I didn't know squat. I didn't know what I was doing at all. Can you imagine how much income I gave up waiting 3 years?
Wow.
So I think we'll just keep that one as the marketing mistake. I have another one, but I think that one trumps the other one.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 3 years. I mean, that's 3 years, not only of like continuous income, but like growth, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's, I'll take that as definitely a big mistake. Oh man. So what's your favorite marketing tool?
My favorite marketing tool? Well, we just touched on it, Sales Navigator, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's these guys, ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
Now, but it was a love-hate relationship at first. And I think it was probably 5, 6. Well, when they first started, really.
Yeah.
And then I was having a hard learning curve. Look, I'm not a tech dummy, but I'm not like, I'm dangerous, but I can also break things. So I've been known to do that, trying to fix my own computer. But it just wasn't working for me. And so I went to their competitors, trust me, Infusionsoft, Lead Pages, Kartra, and Entreport. And I think I thought about ActiveCampaign, but I didn't sign up. Yeah. And then finally last year, right when the lockdown happened, that's when the light bulb went on and said, I got to do this. I got to do this. And Russell's got now, like, the virtual hackathons are in there. And wow, that really helped a lot, because I was constantly in support. I couldn't figure this out, couldn't figure that out. And now support's even great. They get back to you a lot quicker, and they're very, the instructions are very well done. So yeah. I like that. So behind all that, I think as ClickFunnels grew up, I kind of came back, and I just love them over all the other platforms, most definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, on this podcast, I've talked about ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson a lot. I mean, he's my gateway drug of marketing. It's kind of how to refer to him. Like, he's the guy who got me into marketing a year and a half ago. And, I've talked to people on this podcast who don't like ClickFunnels at all. And then I've talked to people who, like one of their competitors for whatever reason. But for me, like, I love the simplicity of everything, how it just works together. And I honestly, I love the business people, like the people inside the business, Russell Brunson included. Like, everything just, for me, it seems authentic, the people there.
I mean, look, especially when we market in LinkedIn, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
So, pick your tool, pick the way you want to, put somebody through your sales funnel, lead page, free thing that grabs their contact information so that you can organize it off of LinkedIn. A tool is a tool is a tool. Yep. I just love ClickFunnels because I think at the time I was ready for it. Before, I wasn't ready for it. And so, and I'm not, I didn't like them for a while either, but then something always brought me back. And this time around now, I get it. It just clicks. It clicks now.
Awesome. So you mentioned like the hackathons they have. Do you have the $297 a month plan or the $97 a month plan?
I do have the $297.
Okay, because I don't think it's available on the 97, because I just have the entry, like the $97 a month.
Yeah. So the funnel, the funnel flicks with all the training and stuff that's on the platinum plan.
Yeah, I know. I found the other day that they have some some of the stuff in FunnelFlix is free or free. It's on the $97 plan. They have very specific things, but like even the amount of content that's on the $97 plan is a ton of stuff on there. But I can't imagine the resources you would have on that $297 a month, like that platinum plan.
Look, I love
Any
it.
issue you run into.
Yeah, especially if you're brand spanking new.
Yeah.
And you're just learning about funnels. Look, they lay it out for you in steps. Here's, quick, get started, your quick start programs, and then you move into, and like traffic and stuff is at the very end. Or if you need a mindset change, you got some Tony Robbins in there, and you got some other folks in there too. What's his name? He spoke at 2CC Live. Maybe he didn't speak at this one. We just saw a video of him. He's the one that coaches men. The guy that's all tattooed up. I really love him. Like, he F-bombs all the time. I kept bleeping it out. Yeah. I can't think of his name. He's in there too, about a mind shift or a mindset change, whatever. I just, I think there's a lot to absorb. So I just tell everybody, look, there's plenty of how-tos in the help section, whatever. Just get started with the $97 plan, get 1 or 2 funnels going, and then, move up. Like I say that with LinkedIn too. Start with the free. Understand LinkedIn, know how to navigate through LinkedIn, know where everything's at, get familiar with it, start reaching out to people, and then graduate over to Sales Navigator. Look, if you don't have $80 a month, or you don't have, the full year's price, then, if you don't need it, don't pay for it until you need it, then move up and pay for it. Look, I started my business on bare bones, single mom, not receiving child support or sporadic child support. And I was struggling, and I got laid off twice in 4 years from corporate America. It was tough and rough. And it was on the advice of my sister to start my agency. And I was going to every networking group, BNI, chamber meetings, the private networking groups. Nobody was buying in my backyard. And that's back when I was, doing profile makeovers for $300. They're not that anymore. But, and so if you're on a budget or you don't have a budget and you have more time than you have money, then start with the $97 plan.
Yeah.
And then start in LinkedIn with the free plan.
Yeah. That's what I kind of like. I take that into my own business. I was told you I do video stuff. When I started out, I didn't go and buy a $4,000 camera body because I wouldn't know what to do with it. I started out on the entry level stuff, and I was like, okay, here's the pitfall of this thing. Let me go check out this camera. Here's the shortfall of this one. And like, I didn't upgrade, and I didn't spend the thousands of dollars until I realized why it was beneficial and how it can improve my life. Because if I went up front and spent it all, then yeah, I've got the ability, but I don't know why. I don't know why I need it. I don't know what I'm gaining or losing. So yeah, I love that mentality of start where you're at. And then as you learn it, as you grow, then you know what the next step is.
Then bring the next piece in.
Yep,
right.
Absolutely. All right, Tracy, if you could go back to when you first started marketing and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Don't go to all the networking groups. Look, LinkedIn is networking on steroids. And I'm not saying, and I'm not talking about in the pandemic that we're in. I'm just talking about when everything goes back to normal. If you do go to the groups, don't expect to go there to get business. What my experience with them is everybody's just as broke as you. So you're probably not going to get business there. I mean, if you're going to do it for networking, fine. But I think if you want to get business, you start with LinkedIn. And I didn't realize that back then. I had this tool at my, fingertips, and I wasn't using it. And look, LinkedIn's 18 years old now. Got to get out there and start using it. There's no excuse not to anymore.
Yep. Awesome. I love that. And LinkedIn is networking on steroids. That's cool. I'm excited to jump in there and start using it. So Tracy, this episode has opened my eyes to LinkedIn. It's definitely something I'm going to be jumping in and checking out. But what's the best place for everybody to follow you, and where do you want people to connect with you?
Sure. First, they can go to LinkedIn. That's where I live.
All right.
I live live and sleep, eat, breathe LinkedIn. So you can go find me, Tracy Enos, and that's Enos. If you forget how to spell it, think Enos Slaughter if you're a Cardinals fan, St. Louis Cardinals fan, or Enos from Dukes of Hazzard. So,
There you
and you
go.
can also, pardon?
So there you go.
There you go, right? And then you could also find me right now. We're redoing with ClickFunnels our whole giveaways, but we're giving you the book behind me, LinkedIn Publishing to Profits. Don't want you to spend $8 buying it unless you want, a paperback copy. We're going to give you the PDF for free. A little bit of it's out of date, but the whole first chapter of it is all about your profile. And then we're going to give you an accompanying profile checklist to go with it.
Ooh, there you go. Profile
And
check.
then you
Awesome.
can go to linkedintopublishing.com, www.linkedintopublishing.com.
LinkedIntopublishing.com. I'm going to head over there and grab that because that's pretty cool. And I'll put that on your episodes page and everything so people can go check that out. And I'm going to send you a friend request on LinkedIn as soon as we get off this call.
You mean we're not connected?
We're not. I just looked it up and we're not. So I was going to try to think of some kind of a connection note I can add in there. So I hopefully get that connection.
Awesome.
Awesome, Tracy. Thank you so much again for taking your time to be on the podcast today.
Thanks, Matt. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Everybody out there listening and watching, I hope this was an eye-opening LinkedIn talk as much for you as it was for me. Appreciate you listening and watching in today. Keep working hard, keep pushing ahead, and remember that marketing matters.